Hey everybody, John here. I am taking my full self-driving Tesla. I have the latest version 12.5.3 in my Model 3 to downtown Chicago during the Mexican Independence Day celebration. This is the busiest event in the entire Midwest. There's a parade tomorrow. Over 400,000 people coming into Chicago for this celebration. Now, I got stuck in the city before by accident, and I felt like I was going to get mobbed. There were people everywhere.
OEMC sent out the alert about street closures at about 10 last night. City plows served as barricades on Michigan near Wacker.
So this year I came prepared. I bought some flags here. I'm gonna wave them outside of my window so I blend in a little bit. I don't get vandalized. Nothing like that is going to happen. Now I do have a LED light. I'm gonna be turning this on, and that way you can see the pedals in my car and I'm not touching anything. The car will be driving itself entirely on its own. So join me, but before we get started, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's head into the city. Boy, oh boy, do I have a fascinating drive for everybody. I'm here at a four-way stop. It's just stop signs, but my visualizations show a red light. I didn't notice this until afterwards. It's not a red light. It's like a construction artifact that's sitting on top of a stop sign, and my car processes it as a red light and just will not go forward. So that's the first out of 3 interventions for this entire drive. I will say that this is not the greatest drive that I've ever witnessed on full self-driving, but I do come across a lot of very bizarre situations. And I think this is a really great test of, can it process chaos? And for a robotaxi, you have to be able to process this stuff. Otherwise, how is a robotaxi going to work 365 days a year? It just won't. Here, a very basic blinking red light, and it's not moving forward. Now, I don't mean to be pessimistic or disappointed with all these things, but we're on version 12.5.3, and if it can't handle blinking red lights, that's a little bit of an issue, in my opinion. So I do report that, and I really hope that Tesla can see that and really help to get those very basic situations sorted out. That first one, granted, a bit of an edge case, but still, that's another one that just should not be happening. Here, four-way stop, we come up really nicely, stopping well in advance of the crosswalk there and then proceeding forward. Look at this, immediately gets into the left lane to avoid the parked car on the right. I absolutely loved that. There are moments throughout this drive that really impressed me, and then there were other moments that were kind of like, are you serious? And you'll notice that throughout this drive, it's just a mix of incredibly impressive moments, but I hate to admit, mostly very aggravating disappointments. I disengaged at this point, and I'm not counting this as a disengagement. I, at this point, got my Mexican flags out just to blend in. There's a lot of chaos in the city during this Independence Day celebration, and I want to blend in as much as possible. Once I get back out on the road here, right at this light before it turns green, I enable full self-driving again. Now you're going to see that white truck on the left. Watch what happens when I come to this stop sign. And keep your eye on the white truck in the left lane. So at least full self-driving obeys the laws. It's overly safe in a lot of situations, I have found, which is a good thing. However, if you stay tuned a little bit, you will see a situation where it actually runs through a red light. Here it proceeds forward. These stop signs, very well done. You can see these lights here. It gets over, and the timing couldn't have been better. I don't know if it was because of those lights. I doubt it, but it was because of the slowing cars in that right lane. And then here, without any turn signal at all, it goes to the right to avoid these cars. You can see there a police vehicle on the left with its lights flashing. It's blocking cars from getting onto the highway. So I'm immediately noticing that there are a lot of blocked roads. The news was saying that there wouldn't be any blocked roads, and I'm starting to realize that was probably because they were referring to the daytime. It is 9 o'clock p.m. Thankfully, it's not any later than this because we do witness a lot of chaos, especially at the end of the video. There is a little incident that really sums up Chicago, and I highly suggest staying with this video until the end to see that. It was a incident where somebody was basically ordered to get out of their vehicle, and they would not get out of the vehicle, and then someone ended up on the street, and the cops handcuffed them. Yeah, I witnessed the whole thing. They were right next to me. Here, I just love the visualizations of these people with their flag going by in the intersection. I just zoom in just for fun to show that. No issues here, but then turning left, no issues here. It's just a little bit jagged. You're going to see here the lane selection. I slow this down on purpose just to show you it kind of hugs the left two lanes and then moves over into this lane here. It took a little bit of time to do that. The lane selection wasn't the greatest there. It should have been a little more confident, especially given that the lines were painted very clearly. Now we need to get all the way over to the left here to South Lower Wacker Drive, and I realize it right now that we need to be all the way over there to the left. It's an unusual entrance to Lower Wacker Drive, so that is the first disengagement that I'm counting here to get down into the lower level. I do report that before we proceed forward, and when we come down to Lower Wacker Drive, I want you to pay attention because you're going to see a situation where full self-driving runs a red light. Here it goes through the yellow light just fine, but one of these here it runs the red light. Disappointing, but you know, these things just shouldn't happen right here. So goes right through that red light. Now, some of you may be like, oh well, but I think the vast majority are going to agree with me that it should not be doing those things. Coming through here, right after we pass through this intersection, it puts on its right turn signal right before this turn in the road. And it takes a long time. I'm looking behind me. There's nobody in my blind spot. It should have gone. I don't know if it was waiting to pass by that fork in the road or what was going on there, but it just took a very long time. And then when it changed lanes, it also took a long time to do that. But these blinking yellow lights, no issues whatsoever. Proceed straight forward through those. And then right around this curve, we have a red light. Slows down very appropriately there. No issues whatsoever. Now, you're going to see the next light. If you look up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see at this intersection we have to turn right, but there's a traffic cop here, and he's telling me, no. He sees my turn signal. He's like, you can't go there. So I did have to disengage. That is one thing that full self-driving just cannot take a cue from with a traffic cop and with barricades. Both of those, it has no clue on, and it will just try to go straight through those areas. And the vast majority of my disengagements are related to exactly that thing. You can see I'm getting rerouted. This is the plow truck blocking the road. We had several situations where the roads were just completely blocked off down in this area. But I'm going south right now, and I really need to be going north to the Nike store off of Michigan Avenue, but I cannot get there, so it's rerouting me. Well, I'm manually driving to get it down here, and I've been driving manually now for quite a while, ever since that traffic cop and the turn there, because it's just very unusual down here. It's trying to go places where it can't go because all the roads are closed off. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I'll turn it on from here, but I'm not really agreeing with some of its directions here. You can hear some of the honking sounds, the celebrations. This is the thick of the celebration. I mean, we're going straight into this celebration right now, and it gets very, very chaotic. I mean, most of it is fun, and it's, you know, very interesting for me. My first time kind of being in the middle of it on purpose. I ended up in the middle of this by accident before, but I wasn't in the middle. I mean, this is like central downtown, and everybody comes here to celebrate, and that's the only reason they're driving is to celebrate. And you'll see everybody with their flags. Now it's trying to go right here, and I disengage here purposefully because, and I do count this as a disengagement because it's trying to reroute. As I zoom out on the nav, you're going to see it's rerouting back to the same area that I was before, which doesn't really make a ton of sense because you can see heading north here, it would just have me try to go left again, and that's a blocked road. So again, no concept of blocked roads, and there's no intuition, I should say. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I really want to get to Nike Chicago, but I'm going to try to get to it by going west instead of going east and north again. If I go west and north, I'm figuring I can probably make my way over there. So at this point in the drive, I'm still optimistic that I'll be able to get to my destination. You can see it's trying to reroute me now after I drove a little bit there manually. It's trying to reroute me to go right again, which is going east, and that's not where we need to go. So that's again where I was before. And then to make matters even worse, look at this, it's barricaded off. So I have to disengage here again, barricade right there, and there's a traffic cops telling people where to go. So my traffic signal would have been very confusing. So I'm driving manually here. I just wanted to play the audio for you just so you get a grasp of how just so you get a grasp of how chaotic it was down here. Absolutely surreal being in this environment. And not only that, it's quite dangerous, I would say, in certain spots. And you'll see that again toward the end of the drive. You can see how sensitive it is here. I just look away for a split second and it says pay attention to the road. But you can see to get to Nike Chicago, we need to head north. And here it's trying to go north here, taking a right turn. But again, it's barricaded off. So they're like, the traffic cops are like, no, you got to go straight. They immediately saw my turn signal and were telling me you can't go here. Now, later I found out that it is possible to go there if you live there. As they go through, look at the car, it kind of pivots on the visualization. I got a kick out of that. But that was the 5th disengagement, and thankfully the last one. There was actually one more after this, but it's further on. It's another barricade. A lot of disengagements due to the barricades and closed roads. But coming up through this tunnel, look at this guy. So this is what's creepy, is you've got people wearing masks and just people being very loud and noisy. This environment just kind of scared me a little bit. But look at this intersection coming up here. You're going to see that traffic cop. He's directing some people to cross the road. And then after this, there's a tunnel. But before we get to the tunnel, you're going to see this traffic cop gets back onto the intersection. And the light is green. The car can go forward. But that same guy that you just saw there, he kind of comes forward toward the road a little bit. Watch this. Right there. And my car reacts a little bit late to that movement and results in me doing the 3rd intervention. So there you can see he steps forward as if he's going to go into the intersection, and it slowed way down. I really had to step on the accelerator to get through there. And the guy's waving me on. After we get through this intersection, I decide to abort all of the waypoints that I have dialed in. It's just not going to work out driving around down here. I do drive through this tunnel. This is kind of the last experience. You can hear the audio here, and then we have the crazy experience. So it was a lot of fun, but I probably won't be doing this again anytime soon. Up here, the traffic comes to a complete stop, and then we have our incident. Definitely not the greatest moment, but let's get back to the self-driving. We had 3 interventions and 5 disengagements. Overall, it definitely wasn't the best drive I've witnessed down in the city. The first intervention was we couldn't proceed at the stop sign. Second, blinking red light. The third was a disengagement. We couldn't find the underground road. The next disengagement, not noticing the blocked road with a traffic cop. The next disengagement, poor map route. The next one, failure to notice blocked road. You're going to notice a lot of blocked roads. Another blocked road. So we had 5 disengagements, and then the last intervention was the unnecessary slowdown for that pedestrian in the road. So, overall, I would say I have definitely had better drives. 12.5.3 is performing decently. However, there's a lot of room for improvement. So for everybody that's really wanting to get 12.5.3, I would say hold on to your passion for having the latest and greatest, because it's not always the greatest. It may be the latest, but it's not always the greatest. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. And for now, I'm out.